Hi guys, Tina Gail here, and I'm back, and we're going to put this globe together. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take everything out of the packaging and pop all of these pieces off and get rid of the foam dots. You can normally just kind of scrape it off with your fingernail. You could use some scissors to scrape it off. They're really not hard to get off. Take all of your land pieces, and one thing before you take all of these apart, you want to put an X with a pencil on the front of all of these pieces. Of course, your letters, you'll know how they go, and the globe back here. And you will find out why here in just a little bit when we get ready to cover it with paper. Now on this, I found something when I actually opened it, so I missed this on the reveal video of the unboxing, but this little stand has family and a heart put on here, but there's also another word. So if you flip it over, they have the word blessed in a little script writing. So I thought that was really neat. I missed that, and I'm so sorry that I didn't put that in the first video. But there you go. So you can have family or blessed. So I think that's super fun. And when you get to these, there's no reason why you couldn't use letter stickers, or if you like your handwriting, make another word on the back of these if you want to change it up. So I thought that was a lot of fun. So the first thing we're going to do is paint our base, and you can use any acrylic paint, a foam brush, a paintbrush, anything like that. So paint your base, customize it to whatever color you like. If you want to go ahead and paint the base of your globe, how they did with black, then go ahead and get that painted. Then we're going to come back and we're going to do the fun part of putting the pattern paper on. Once you have everything apart, you've painted your base and you've painted this, and I'll give you one other tip. On this piece here, you can paint with the paint that comes in your kit if you bought the full kit. You can use ink. You can also use some type of marker that's more of a paint-based marker, something that's waterproof. And so that's what I did on the heart. I just this is on the back, but I just wanted to test to see what color it would show up. So you could simply do that. This, I just opened up and used the ink pad and just rubbed on the edges. I'm not worried about the sides or the inside. It would be next to impossible, and it just doesn't bother me. If it does, then go ahead and paint or ink those edges, but for now I'm going to leave it the way it is. So now comes into play why you put the X's on the paper. So I have chosen the Simple Story, So Happy Together. I love flowers and I love wood grain, and I just couldn't resist this. So for the globe, where you have the X, you want to put the X to the back side of the paper that you're going to use. So I'm going to use this floral on this dark navy blue for the back of the globe. So I thought that kind of represented the dark blue, the water and stuff. So I'm going to flip it over, and I've actually already done it, and put the X to the back side of the paper that I want it to show, and you're going to trace around it and then cut it out. Now I'm going to use this back side that has the text and all these hearts for the land pieces. So I'm going to do the same thing. You can put the X to the back of the paper, but I also want to keep in mind, since this is text, I want to remember where this is going, and this is where the photo might come into play. And on this one, since it's specific, you could have kind of traced around the edges if you wanted to. So I know this part of the land is going up along the side of the globe like this. So I want to make sure that it goes on my paper like that so that I can read the text. So I'm going to trace this one on the front side of the paper, and you're just going to allow a little bit of extra room so that you don't have to deal with the pencil marks. So I'm going to look on here and make sure that I get words, which of course all of them are perfect. It's all about family. So I will just put it about right there. This is where a mechanical pencil kind of is really great. They're usually a little bit softer tip. When you're doing the globe and it has that slot in there, you can push the lead all the way out so that it's really long to fit in that little area. So you can see, hopefully, that I traced a pretty wide area. So this one's the same way. So I know this is kind of the top, so it's going to go something like this. So I think I will just go ahead and we'll trace that one. And then the banner here, there was a sheet of paper that has the wood grain, and I love the wood grain, so I'm going to cut the banner out of the wood grain. So pick out your pattern papers. Remember to put the X to the back side of the paper, like for the globe. If you're doing something that's text and you need to see the orientation, you can trace from the front side, but otherwise put that X on the back side of your pattern paper. Get all your pieces traced and cut them out, and we'll come back and put it together. Once you have everything cut out, you're ready to apply the paper to your wood pieces. So a couple of options that I think works really well is either the Tombow Mono Liquid Glue or Mod Podge. So either one of those that you have, or any other wet glue that will stay open for just a little bit, because you need to be able to apply it and then move it somewhat. So I've already glued those on, but I'll show you on this. I put the glue straight onto the wood, and I don't go right up to the edge. And you don't want so much that it makes the paper really wet and takes a long time to dry, and it could cause the paper to tear and disintegrate, but enough that it's going to stick. So I just put quite a bit on there, and then when I put the paper on, I just slide it back and forth, and that's going to get it to the edges. And then if you have a brayer or anything that you can press down on, that works really well, and you just want to firmly press that on there. You can also turn it upside down. Let's see, that's another reason. Just be able to move that. So you can turn it upside down as well and just press with anything that you have, just so that it gets a good seal. Now you want these to completely dry, otherwise you can damage your paper and stuff, and you don't want to do that after you've worked so hard. But once it's dry, you can take your scissors on straight edges like this, and I think the small cutter bees are best, but just kind of trim as close as you can, and then you won't have to sand as much. So I did that on all of these pieces. I cut, and then you're ready to sand. And you can use any kind of sandpaper, or if you have files. These are some that the Foundation's Decor sells, and I think these are fabulous to get in some of these tight places. You can also just use sheets of sandpaper, anything that you have, and then just sand the edges so that the paper matches up. Then you can go and antique, if you want, the edges with ink. If you have small little chalk inks, those work really well. Distress inks, anything like that. And I like a little bit of distressing, so I will just go around the edges of some of the pieces. Just gives it a little bit more dimension and a little bit more finished piece. So you can do that, and then you're ready just to put all of the pieces together. I will use the same adhesive, the Tombow Mono, to put all of these pieces onto the globe. So I will line these up and make sure that my text is going to be straight. And of course, this piece will be cut and sanded, and then we'll just put the banner on. So I will be back when I get all of this together. And here's a look at the finished globe. I went ahead and glued everything down, and I did go ahead and take a little bit of the paper and covered the heart. I wanted this kind of corally red to match with the rest of it, so I just had a little flower right here, and I just cut it out of that so it would match, and we are done. So that was quick and simple. I hope you enjoyed that, and let Rochelle know what other shapes you would like to have in the shop to go with yours. So when it's sitting on the shelf, that's exactly what it'll look like with your little word tiles up here. So I hope you enjoyed that. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.